Okay, hi, I am Dr. Jacob Lauritzen, and you're watching Read, Write, and Cite, the show where I teach you how to read, write, and cite for your college classes. This is a channel for students, primarily focused on things relating to English classes, but we also talk about lots of stuff that might help you throughout your college journey. So please consider subscribing if these are things that you think would help you out. All these videos are produced by Carpe Productions. If you would like to find out more about what we do, you can check out our website at carpeandzen.com. All right, so let's get started. In this video, we're going to be talking about nouns. Nouns are so incredibly important. They're so overlooked. They're the kind of thing that you're taught over and over and over again. If someone asks you what a noun was, you could probably tell them. But if they ask you to identify one in a sentence, you might have to start to think about it. Hopefully, by the end of this video, we'll understand nouns a little bit better, and hopefully why understanding what a noun is going to be helpful to you. Okay, so here we go. All right, there are let's start with the basic definition that probably everybody knows. A noun is a person, a place, a thing, or it's also an idea or a concept. Those are the more abstract things like happiness or balance or freedom, right? Those are hard to you can't see it or touch it like you can a person, a place, or a thing. Does that make sense? They're all nouns. A noun is something that a sentence can be about, right? We're going to talk a lot about grammar in other videos, but for today's purposes, a noun is a person, place, thing, idea, or concept. There are a lot of different classifications of nouns. These are 3 of them. You can probably come up with more, but these are ones that are important that I want to talk about because they also affect other rules, like capitalization, spelling, or grammar. And that's why I wanted to hit on them. Because knowing what a noun is just trivia until you understand how it affects the rest of your writing. Does that make sense? So I'm going to talk about 3 classifications of nouns and how they affect capitalization, spelling, and different things with grammar. Okay? So let's get started. Proper nouns and common nouns are kind of like the difference between a name brand and like a generic brand. Does that make sense? A proper noun, it's the specific name of a person, place, thing, or an idea, right? It's specific name. Like if you refer to me as teacher or YouTuber or something like that, that would be less specific than calling me Dr. Lauritzen. Does that make sense? You refer to someone by their specific name, a name that is theirs. That's kind of like you could say it's the proper way. It's also the thing that's going to be capitalized, right? So here's some examples. Maybe you get John. John's going to be capitalized. Arizona, it's the specific state. The Blair Reader, the textbook I use. Or some concept like postmodernism. Ooh, postmodernism. But in contrast, you also have common nouns. These are the more generic names for things. They're still referring to the same person, place, thing, or idea, but they use a different word for it. And that other word is less specific. It's common. So man is another way to refer to John. State is another word for Arizona. Book for Blair Reader. And theory for postmodernism. You with me so far? This affects capitalization, right? Because you capitalize proper nouns, you don't capitalize common nouns unless they are part of a title or they are the very first word in a sentence, right? But in general, we understand those other rules for capitalization. Where people get tripped up is this proper or not? They may not realize what the rule is, but that's what the rule is, and that's why we're talking about it. So here's an example. The Thatcher High School football team plays at John Mickelson Stadium on Stadium Avenue in Thatcher, Arizona. As you can tell, this is the This is stadium at the college where I teach at. Okay, so Thatcher High School, that is the proper noun. That is the specific name for a school. Football team is more generic, so we're putting that. But if we say their mascot, right? The Thatcher High School Eagles, which is their mascot, that would be capitalized because it's the specific proper name. John Mickelson Stadium, capitalized. If I just call it football stadium, not capitalized. Stadium Avenue, specific street. If I just call it street or avenue, not specific, wouldn't be capitalized. Thatcher, Arizona, both proper nouns, they'd be capitalized. If I said, city or town, not capitalized. You with me so far? This is why it's important to know different categories, because it's going to affect something like capitalization. We also have, we also have singular or plural nouns, right? This is going to affect spelling. If I have a singular noun, it's going to be one person, place, thing, or idea, or one group of people, places, things, or ideas. So a man, woman, child, singular. School, church, building, home, singular. Cat, horse, car, singular. A theory, a concept, an idea, all singular. A class of students may include lots of people, but it's just one class. So again, something like that, singular. Plural, on the other hand, there's two or more of something, a person, two people, places, things, or nouns, or concepts, right? So you're going to start adding an S or an ES on the end of them, assuming that they follow a regular rule of spelling, right? Okay, so singular nouns, you don't change. They're the base form. Plural nouns, you're going to add S or ES. Irregular plural nouns, like if you back up, I use the example children. You could say kids is one way. That's just adding S, but you don't put childs, right? It has a different form because it's irregular. In that case, you simply have to know what it is. But it is something that can be made plural. It can change form to identify that is more than one child. You with me so far? Okay. That leads us into the last category we want to talk about in this video, and that is count versus non-count nouns. Now, this is similar, and it affects singular and plural nouns, but it's not the same. A count noun is something that can be singular or plural. And you can tell because it's going to be following standard conventions. Can you add S or ES on the end of it to make it, to identify plural, or is there some irregular form that makes it plural? If not, it's probably a non-count noun. Now, non-count nouns can't be made plural. They have one form. You can only identify that there's the amount has changed or the volume has changed by qualifying it with groups of words, right? So if we take the word school, you can add an S to the end. It's regular, it's a count noun. Mr. Jones gets a little bit tricky because it ends in S, but you can add, well, if there's more than one, it's the Joneses, that's ES, still following rules. Non-count, on the other hand, is like water. You don't really say a water unless you're talking about the product, but the amount of water is not something you have to qualify it in some way. You have to say a glass of water. The same for food. You can say you want some food, but you're qualifying it. You can say a little food. Again, you're qualifying it, but it's not clear. You don't say foods or waters unless you're talking about bottles of water and you're kind of using shorthand. You with me so far? Okay, so far we've talked about 3 categories. We've talked about, okay, let me hit on grammar real fast. Grammar is kind of like using the right words in the right order, and count and non-count can also affect grammar, okay? They're going to work differently depending on which kind of those nouns you're using, right? Adjectives, for example, which are used to describe a noun, are going to react differently with the count or a non-count noun or how you qualify the amount is going to be different. It's going to use different groups of words. So again, Jane ran down the street. Street is, it's a count noun. So is Jane. Excuse me. So you can put streets. You could say the. You don't have to qualify an amount of the street, but she's been running and now she wants a glass of water. Jane wanted a glass of water. A glass of qualifies the water. Does that make sense? It helps to make it more specific, but it requires a phrase. Okay? So it's going to affect the grammar or the words in the sentence. Okay? All right. So we talked about a couple different kinds of nouns. Knowing which kind of noun is going to affect capitalization. It might affect spelling. It might affect the grammar in the sentence, where you can put it, how it's going to be arranged with other words in the sentence. All these things are important. So knowing these things can help you recognize a problem, if it exists, in your work and how to fix it. Most native English speakers are going to pick up on this automatically. But if where you learned it, someone wasn't speaking standard English, they weren't following the rules, because, I don't know, they're human, then you might need to learn these rules so that you can correct these mistakes. Are you with me so far? I just want to make sure that it's clear. We're looking at the big picture. We're understanding why this is important, because it is. It's not just trivia that your teacher asks you. It affects your ability to recognize mistakes and to identify solutions for mistakes in your writing. Okay? Thank you for watching this. There's going to be a lot more videos just kind of breaking down grammar to help make these things that maybe we're familiar with make a little more sense. If you like this, please check out the other stuff that me and my company make. We're Carpe and Zen Productions. You can check us out online at carpeandzen.com or follow us on social media. This channel is Read, Write, and Cite. We talk about stuff for students, and I hope this was valuable to you. Thank you so much for watching. Appreciate your time. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.